Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Things are starting to happen, guys. There's some good things going on. Let's just listen.
Good morning, everyone. This morning we arrested Massachusetts State Representative Francisco Paulino, who represents the 16th Essex District, which includes the cities of Lawrence and Methuen, for pandemic unemployment insurance fraud, pandemic loan fraud, and money laundering. He is charged in an 11-count indictment that was unsealed today. A grand jury in Boston also returned an 11-count indictment charging the sitting mayor of Lawrence, Brian DePina, with pandemic loan fraud and money laundering. As many of you know, Mayor DePina was arrested last week on a criminal complaint. He is alleged to have stolen approximately $1.5 million in public taxpayer money he used to fund his mayoral campaign, pay his personal tax liabilities, and pay off personal loans. The date for his arraignment on the indicted charges has yet to be set. According to the Paulino indictment, Mr. Paulino devised a scheme to fraudulently obtain more than $700,000 in federal pandemic-related relief funds. It is alleged that Paulino used some of the money for his own personal use, including real estate expenses, loan payments, and transfers to his campaign account. Other money he flipped around and lent to other individuals at higher interest rates than the pandemic loan rate, basically making more money for himself at the expense of others. Prior to being elected for a seat in the Massachusetts House of Representatives in November of 2021, it is alleged that Paulino ran several businesses, including Madison Tax in Lawrence. Madison Tax provided tax preparation and business planning services to small businesses. Paulino's alleged fraud began in April of 2020 when he allegedly filed an online application for pandemic unemployment assistance benefits, not for himself, but rather in the name of an unwitting 77-year-old relative. The application falsely claimed that the relative had worked for Madison Tax in 2019. Once the unemployment claim was approved, based on the false information Pauline submitted, funds were deposited into an account that Paulino controlled. From April 2020 until September 2021, Paulino filed false weekly certifications with the Massachusetts Department of Unemployment Assurance, all in the relative's name. These unemployment benefits that Paulino fraudulently obtained for himself totaled over $44,000. Paulino also allegedly filed fraudulent paperwork with the Small Business Administration in order to obtain economic injury disaster loans, commonly referred to as EIDLs. Some of these applications were for businesses Paulino owned, and others were filed in the name of a business owned by a client of Madison Tax. It is alleged that Paulino used the fraudulently obtained money for his own benefit. First, Paulino allegedly filed an application for an EIDL in which he falsely represented that the revenues of one of his businesses, Jackson Enterprise, were over $426,000 during the time frame of January of 2019 to January of 2020. The problem is that the business wasn't in operation until August of 2020. The SBA approved the loan based on the alleged false information and sent $136,000 to an account controlled by Paulino. It is further alleged that Paulino obtained an EIDL of over $109,000 for Madison Tax in May of 2020 and later requested an increase to the Madison Tax EIDL. In July of 2021, the SBA approved an increase of over $290,000 to Madison Tax's EIDL, and Paulino falsely certified that he would use that $290,000 as working capital for Madison Tax. Instead, it is alleged that he loaned most of that money to other individuals through another of his businesses, Madison Mortgage, charging interest rates significantly higher than the interest rate he was getting for the Madison Tax loan. It is further alleged that Paulino took advantage of one of his tax clients by misrepresenting the terms and conditions for obtaining EIDL loans. As alleged in the indictment, based on applications Paulino filed, the SBA awarded over $345,000 in idle loans to his client's business. Paulino then had that client forward $200,000 of those funds to him, which he used to partially fund a $680,000 mortgage for an individual for the purchase of real property. The interest rate Paulino charged on the mortgage loan was higher than the interest rate from the idle. In total, it is alleged that Paulino fraudulently obtained over $700,000 in federal benefits that he was not entitled to, and used the funds to line his own pockets.
We have finally something starting to happen. This is small time compared to what we know is out there and has occurred. Again, though, there are signs that things are starting to move in a positive direction. This will pick up as we go into election time. And, again, come this November, expect anything and everything. Anything is possible. But, again, we're starting to see some accountability being held. So we'll take it, but we're not satisfied. God, no. Look at what's still going on in Ukraine. And there's just so many operations like this constantly going on. It has been so much more corrupt than most people could even begin to comprehend. We have blindly given trust to people that do not deserve even an ounce of trust. As always, guys, look forward to your comments, share your thoughts, and do like, share, subscribe, and hype where possible. Keep awakening as many as you can, and we're going to change the paradigm quicker. Source bless and namaste.